Mercenaries have fought for ancient kings, for empires trying to control their subjects, for rebel factions trying to overthrow the current regime, for corporations trying to make an even bigger profit, and for nations attempting to secure their interests. At any time and place, there are men looking to make profit through war. These experts in warfare have changed the course of wars and added their names to history. In this series, we will cover mercenary groups throughout history, from ancient times to the modern era. The 10,000 were a band of Greek mercenaries who marched from Greece all the way to support Cyrus the Younger in Persia. Their goal was to take over the throne for Cyrus the Younger and secure a large amount of loot to take home. Unfortunately, this did not happen. Cyrus was killed, thus ending the 10,000's contract and opportunity to get rich. The retreat home was hell, constantly stalked by Persian forces and local hostile tribes. But half the band was able to return to Greece through hard fighting and great leadership. This is their story. What we know of the 10,000 comes from Xenophon, who not only personally participated in the expedition, but wrote of the adventure in his writings Anabasis. The start of the war came from Cyrus the Younger, who believed he was the rightful heir to the Persian throne and, of course, had his own personal ambition. Cyrus gathered his own loyal forces and hired foreign mercenaries like the Greek 10,000. The Greek mercenaries were veterans of the Peloponnesian War and border skirmishes. Since there was no war in Greece, they had to find work elsewhere that needed their skills and expertise. While Greeks and Persians didn't have the best view and relationship with each other, money changes everything. Mercenaries are willing to fight for anyone who pays the best. The 10,000 Greek warriors were offered gold, adventure, and loot from pillaging. Research has shown that they were offered 1 darik per month for non-officers, which equates to $600 to $700 per month, which seems extremely low for the high risk, but 1 darik back then was a whole month's pay for your average labourer. This does not include the money from loot collected and the chances of bonus pay for victory. The Greek mercenaries were your standard hoplite heavy infantry with the support of Cretan archers and hundreds of Thracian peltasts. The hoplite merc's gear consisted of a shield called a aspis, bronze helmet, a cuirass, which is a chestplate, greaves, a sword, and an 8-foot spear called a dory. This equipment would prove to be useful in defeating the Persians' troops and protecting the wearer. In 401 BC, the mercenary band gathered in Ionia, which is modern-day Western Turkey, and then met Cyrus in Sardis. From there they marched toward Babylon, going through Syria and following the Euphrates River until they clashed with Artaxerxes' army at the Battle of Cunaxa. The Battle of Cunaxa would become a test for future invasions. Alexander the Great would study this battle and come to understand the superiority of the Greek hoplite discipline and skill over Persian soldiers. Cyrus put the Greek mercenaries on the right side of the battle formation, which is considered a great honor. However, other accounts say the Greeks wanted the right side and didn't trust their allies to cover them. So Cyrus had no choice, even though he wanted the Greeks to focus on killing his brother. Cyrus took the centre with several hundred bodyguards, while the rest of the Persian force was on the left side. The force gathered under Cyrus was around 25,000. The Persian force under Artaxerxes II was between 40,000 and 60,000, which fielded infantry, chariots, and some of the best cavalry in the world. This seemed like an unfair fight, but the Greek mercenaries had fought battles against bigger armies before, and their disciplined training stopped them from retreating. The Greek force advanced and quickly defeated the force in front of them, forcing the Persian army to retreat on the right. However, Cyrus's Persian troops struggled, and Cyrus got too careless and pushed too aggressively to kill his brother that he missed the spear throw that would have killed Artaxerxes, and Cyrus himself was hit by a javelin and died. Artaxerxes' Persian force went around and destroyed the Greek camp, but was forced to retreat after. The battle was a major victory for Cyrus and the Greeks, but Cyrus was killed in the battle, which made it pointless. The hope for pay was gone since their patron was killed. This was a horrible situation. This forced the Greeks into negotiations with Artaxerxes, which resulted in the Greek leadership being executed in a trick by Artaxerxes. Xenophon took charge and planned a retreat. Deep in enemy territory, with no gold, no local allies, and little supplies, the Greek mercenaries feared for their lives but did not scatter like most armies. Xenophon was voted as the new leader of the band among others, and quickly formulated a plan of retreat. The Greek mercenaries would have to walk over 1,500 miles to get back to Greece. On their journey, they would suffer more losses than fighting prior to the retreat from starvation, the elements, and harassing forces. As the Greek army headed north, Tissaphernes and his forces harassed them, but with little success in killing the Greeks. The Persians, at one point, were surprised by the mercenaries in a counterattack that left many Persians dead. However, marching further north, the mercenaries came across a wild tribe of Carduchians who, like the Persians, attacked them. The situation was worsened when a large Persian force blocked their route further north. The Battle of the Carduchian Defile was fought here and nearly saw the Greek mercenaries completely surrounded. But through in-depth military strategy, Xenophon and other leaders fought hard and found holes within the Persian lines to expose and then escape. They had survived, but there was a much more dangerous foe lying ahead in Armenia. This foe was winter. The Greek mercenaries had very little clothing to stay warm, so many of the Greeks froze to death. Later, a fortress was founded that had supplies. The mercs took it over, and then saw women throwing their children off the walls before throwing themselves. Finally, the Greeks' mercs reached what we call the Black Sea and formed alliances with local Greek colonies. After fighting a battle against the Colchians and winning, they pushed further west. They tried to obtain enough ships to return faster, but only some were secured. The 10,000 pillaged and raided in Bithynia, probably trying to make up for their losses in the expedition. The satrap of Hellespontine Phrygia, Pharnabazus II, got angered by these raids and attempted to stop the mercenaries. He killed several hundred of them, but failed to squash them. Pharnabazus then paid off the Spartan admiral Anaxibius to ship off the mercenaries to Byzantium. From here, Xenophon secured a new contract to fight for Sothis II in Thrace. However, the pay wasn't substantial after securing victory. It's ironic that after reaching Greece, the mercenaries, instead of going home, went back to Ionia to fight a war against Tissaphernes and Pharnabazus under a new contract with the Spartan general Thibron. This ends the long journey and tale of the 10,000. The interesting fact that you probably didn't know was that the Greek army called 10,000 actually had more than 10,000. It's estimated that they had around 13,000 or 14,000 mercenaries total. But some of them did abandon the campaign before the Battle of Cunaxa or died while on march. But the number was never exactly 10,000. At the end of their journey, the Greek mercenary force had about 6,000 to 8,000 remaining warriors. The rest had died. Of those who died, most were killed by the elements or starvation. It's astonishing that Xenophon and the other officers were able to retreat while fighting the enemy with little supplies, while also gathering what they could with few casualties. Xenophon would write about their journey in Anabasis, and later would become a famous philosopher. Alexander the Great read and learned from the Anabasis, and used its knowledge to prepare for war against Persia. Alexander's armies of hoplites and cavalry would obliterate Persian forces, battle after battle, before crushing their empire. The 10,000 and Xenophon may have lost the war that Cyrus the Younger was waging, but they won a respected place in mercenary history.